London, England, July 18th, 1975. The Lyceum Theatre in London was absolutely packed. Over 2,100 fans crammed in, buzzing with excitement, waiting for Bob Marley and the Wailers to take the stage. This wasn't just any show. It was being recorded live for an album that would become legendary. The air was thick with anticipation, a mix of sweet smoke and pure energy. But tucked away in the cheapest seats at the back, sitting alone after spending his last savings on the ticket, was a 72-year-old man named Joseph Thompson. Welcome back to Marley Files, the untold stories. This is the channel where we uncover the hidden, heart-touching tales behind the legend of Bob Marley. If you're new here, or just loving these deep dives, smash that subscribe button right now and hit the like if you're ready for a story that'll give you chills. Your support keeps these untold gems coming. Let's grow this community together. Joseph hadn't been to a concert in decades. Simple pleasures like this were long out of reach in his modest life. But when he saw the poster for Bob Marley at the Lyceum, something tugged at him deep inside. A vague memory, an unexplained pull he couldn't ignore. He didn't know much about reggae. It wasn't the sound echoing through his small flat in East London. He felt too old for the music of the youth. Yet, something compelled him to buy that ticket and show up. Surrounded by vibrant young fans with dreadlocks and colorful clothes, Joseph felt completely out of place. Then the lights dropped, the crowd erupted, and Bob Marley stepped onto the stage. In that instant, the venue transformed. It wasn't just a theater anymore. It felt sacred. Bob's radiant energy washed over everyone, reaching even the farthest seats where Joseph sat quietly. The band exploded into Trenchtown rock, and the place went wild. People dancing, singing along, moving in perfect harmony. Joseph watched intently, trying to grasp the magic unfolding. As Bob powered through classics like Them Belly Full, Rebel Music, and Lively Up Yourself, a faint spark ignited in Joseph's memory, something long buried. Then Bob grabbed the mic and said, "This next one is about my roots, the streets that shaped me. Trenchtown." The soft, familiar chords of No Woman, No Cry began. Joseph froze. That melody. He knew it. Not these exact words, but the heart of it, the pattern of notes beneath. Suddenly, he was transported back to 1948 in Kingston, Jamaica, to a humble wooden schoolhouse in Trenchtown where he taught free music lessons to children from the toughest neighborhoods. Those kids had so little. Poverty was their daily reality. But music was their light, their escape. Joseph shared simple melodies to give them hope and joy. No woman, no cry. His hands started trembling. He'd taught that very tune to countless children whose faces had faded over time. But one boy stood out. A quiet, undersized, mixed-race kid who faced bullying, but silenced everyone when he played guitar. His name? Robert. Little Robert, with the sad eyes and that haunting voice. On stage, Bob poured raw emotion into stories of Trenchtown's hardships, good friends lost, and the promise that everything would be all right. Joseph stared at the iconic figure with dreadlocks, desperately trying to connect him to the vulnerable child from 30 years ago. It seemed impossible. That boy had no money, no opportunities, no visible path forward. Joseph had given him an old guitar, taught him basic chords, and encouraged him. Keep going, the music's in you. But in 1950, Joseph left Jamaica for London, chasing a new life, and never looked back. He had no idea what became of those kids. As No Woman, No Cry ended to thunderous applause, Bob sipped water and stepped toward the crowd, scanning faces thoughtfully. "You know," he shared, his voice clear and heartfelt. Growing up in Trenchtown was rough. We had nothing. But there was this one teacher who gave free lessons in a little rundown schoolhouse. He didn't have to. He got no pay. But he showed up every week, teaching us that music was hope, power, a way out. Joseph's heart pounded. His name was Mr. Thompson, Joseph Thompson. He gave me my first guitar, taught me my first chords. When I got it wrong, he'd smile and say, "Try again, little one. You've got the music inside. Just let it shine." The theater fell silent, captivated. "I never got to thank him properly," Bob continued, voice thickening. "He left when I was about 10. I lost track. But I've always wondered if he knew how that one act changed everything for a poor kid like me." Tears streamed down Joseph's face. Fans nearby glanced at the weeping old man curiously. Bob shaded his eyes against the lights, still searching. "If you're out there, Mr. Thompson, if you're alive and hearing this, thank you. You gave me my life." "I'm here," Joseph whispered, then shouted, standing shakily. Heads turned, people pointed, a wave of whispers rippling through the crowd. Bob spotted the commotion. "Sir in the back, stand up again." Joseph rose, legs trembling. Even from afar, after all these years, Bob sensed something familiar. "What's your name?" he called. "Joseph Thompson." The crowd gasped, then roared as the truth dawned. Bob's mystery teacher was here, in this very room. Bob's eyes filled with tears, his face in shock. "Mr. Thompson, is it really you?" "It's me, Robert," Joseph yelled, using the boy's old name. Overcome, Bob signaled security. "Bring him up here, to me." Guards cleared a path as the audience parted in reverence. Strangers helped Joseph forward, everyone tearful, sensing history in the making. It took time, his steps slow and weary. But finally, at the stage, Bob leaped down to meet him. They stared for a moment. The global superstar and the forgotten teacher, the legend, and the man who'd sparked it all. Then Bob pulled him into a tight embrace. "Mr. Thompson, I can't believe you're here." "I never knew," Joseph sobbed. "You were just little Robert from the streets. I didn't connect it to Bob Marley." "You saved me," Bob said, pulling back. "You saw something when no one else did. You gave me belief." Bob helped Joseph onto the stage amid deafening cheers. Over 2,100 people stood, many crying at the sheer beauty. "This is Mr. Joseph Thompson," Bob announced. "My teacher. Without him, there's no Bob Marley, no music, no message." The applause shook the walls. Bob brought a chair for Joseph. "Remember the first song you taught the class? That gospel tune, 'This Little Light of Mine'?" Joseph's eyes sparkled through tears. "Yes, we sang it every week." "Sing it with me now?" Bob asked gently. Joseph nodded. Bob picked up an acoustic guitar, sat on the floor beside him like in the old schoolhouse, and strummed softly. "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." Joseph's aged, wavering voice joined in. The entire theater hushed. This was no longer a concert. It was sacred, a full circle closing after decades. When it ended, Bob held Joseph's hands. "Thank you for seeing me. That guitar started everything." "I just shared chords," Joseph whispered. "You did the rest." Bob turned to the crowd. "One small kindness can change the world." Mr. Thompson had little, but he gave priceless hope. Imagine what you could do for someone. Joseph watched the rest of the show from the side, awestruck by his former student's brilliance. Backstage afterward, Bob spent hours with him, ignoring everything else. Joseph opened up about his struggles in London, janitor work, retirement on pennies, wondering if his life mattered. It mattered more than you know, Bob said fiercely. Through me, you've touched millions. Before leaving, Bob wrote a generous check, £10,000, for the guitar and everything. Live comfortably now. Let me give back. Joseph took it, trembling. Come to more shows. Let me know if you need anything. I will, Joseph promised, hugging him again. Joseph lived another 7 years in comfort, thanks to Bob, a better home, care, monthly support. He attended every London concert, always with a stage-side seat, where Bob would spotlight him. That's my teacher, the man who made this possible. When Bob passed in 1981, Joseph was at his side, singing This Little Light of Mine, one last time. You let it shine brighter than anyone, Robert. Joseph died in 1985 at 79. His funeral played Marley's music, celebrating teacher and student, kindness and dreams. Today, in Kingston's Bob Marley Museum, there's a recreated Trench Town Schoolhouse exhibit, a photo of their emotional Lyceum embrace, and that original guitar. The plaque echoes Bob's words. Without him, none of this exists. Because sometimes, one act of belief, a guitar to an overlooked child, ignites a light that illuminates the world. Joseph's quiet compassion gave us Marley's message of hope, unity, and love. What a powerful, moving story, right? If it touched your heart like it did mine, like this video, subscribe for more Untold Marley tales and drop a comment. Who's the mentor or teacher who changed your life forever? Let's honor them together in the comments.